Hello everyone, welcome back. And what did we just watch? Barcelona just won a game 7-0 in La Liga. That was incredible. It's one of the most exciting and enjoyable games that I've seen from Barcelona in such a long time. It's been so long since Barcelona have put in that dominant of a performance. And Hansi Flick, the first thing that I want to do in this video is say thank you because he has been incredible. The start of the season has been so joyful for Barca fans because I know Barcelona's bored. I know a lot of fans didn't really like the moves that they made in the summer. There were some negative feelings towards the club's board and maybe the direction that they were taking it. But Barcelona, wow. I mean, they have been so good. I cannot have asked for anything more in their performances so far. Of course, to win all of your games to start the year, that's great. But that's not the most important thing for me. It's the way that they've played. That's what I've been more impressed with than the results. I mean, 7-0 is incredible. It's so dominant, of course. But it was just so fun to watch them play. That's, for me, the thing that Hansi Flick has brought back. And all the players, they were happy from minute one because they're enjoying their football, and it's so evident in the way that they play. And I mean, even Lamine Yamal and Lewandowski, they look like the connection is there, right? It looks like every single player is in sync with each other. It just seems like good vibes, and I think that's really showing every single time they step on the pitch so far this season. They've done so well. I could not have asked for anything more. And 7-0, Hansi Flick, thank you so much. I only have positive things to say about this game. I cannot believe we just watched Barcelona play that good. It was so exciting and enjoyable to watch, and I'm just so happy. And I know it's only been 4 games, so I don't want to say, oh, Barcelona are going to have so much success this season. But what we can tell right now is that Hansi Flick has completely revolutionized this team. It's looked completely different than what we saw with Xavi at Barcelona, and I've loved it so far. I mean, of course, everyone has, because not only have Barcelona won their games, but in the fashion that they've won it, that's what we want long term. Because, of course, Xavi, sometimes he was scraping by with 1-0 wins, but that's not sustainable. Once you come up against the best teams in the world, then your weaknesses can show, and you're not as dominant. But Barcelona, of course, Valladolid, they didn't have the best performance, but I think all 4 games this season for Barca, it's not been an easy start to La Liga, especially with all the players missing, and they look unpredictable. They look difficult to play against, and that's what was missing last year, of course. I think it was very easy to play against Barcelona at times under Xavi, but with Hansi Flick, they are pressing, they are attacking, they are going at you for 90 minutes, and the team so far, they haven't been able to keep up with that, and Barca, in their first 4 games, they've looked by far the better team every time they've came up against the opponent. And another thing that I wanted to highlight that I thought was very interesting was the commentators at halftime. They said this could turn into a very long night for Valladolid. And that unlocked a memory that I haven't heard in so long, because I think Barca, when they would go 1-0 up, it still seemed like they could lose, or they would kind of go into their shell. But Hansi Flick, not only does he want to try and get 2, 3, he wants to try and get 7. And all the players wanted to get on the score sheet as well. That was all just great to see. I'm just loving the way the Barcelona are playing currently. And as I said, I could not have asked for anything more for Hansi Flick to start this season at Barcelona. He's been so good. And Barcelona, their entire squad, so fun to watch so far. And all of those goals were so nice. I'll try and remember them, but with 7, it's going to be difficult, to be completely honest. But that first pass from Kubarsi, I mean, his distribution is incredible. And Rafinha, oh my goodness, I'm so happy for him, because to get his first hat-trick for Barcelona, I hope it's not the last, he was so good today. Just his runs in behind, that's exactly what made the first goal. Is he's just very difficult to mark because he's always moving, especially when Dani Olmo was on the pitch. They were swapping sides, they were swapping positions. And Rafinha, he was so difficult to track, and he broke through. What a great finish from him on his weaker foot. And then to grab a second and a third for him, I was so happy with that. And Lamine Yamal, I don't have any words to talk about how good he is. I've never seen anything like this, anything remotely close to this. I did not watch the best players of all time when they were 17, 18. I don't want to go into that at all. Lamine Yamal, I've just never seen anything like that before. Or like this before. To do what he did at the Euros and at Barcelona. And I remember his debut when he was 15. It's shocking to be that good with the ball, to have the vision. I remember he was playing balls over the top at 15. Against grown men, and he looked like one of the best players on the pitch already. And he's just so good. That performance again today was incredible. I just love the way that he plays. He's so fun and enjoyable to watch. And himself, Rafinha, Dani Olmo, Lewandowski, it was so great. Them 4 up top with Pedri and Casado as well behind. I think they were both solid. But those 4 attackers, they're so dynamic as well. They move around. Of course, Lamine Yamal does so well on the right. Lewandowski, I think he's completely changed this season. And that has to do, I think, a lot with the team around him as well. But he just looks very sharp currently. And Rafinha and Dani Olmo, together in the middle, they're switching centrally to the left. It works so well. And I really do hope that as it goes towards, there are going to be 50, 60 games this season. I hope that continues to work because Barca, they did not sign a direct left winger that we kind of wanted. But when Rafinha is doing this well, you have to start him every single game. But he's not going to start in front of Lamine Yamal. So where do you put him? Centrally or on the left? And that's where he's doing very well at. And of course, as I said, Valladolid, maybe they didn't have the best performance, right? You do concede 7 goals. You're probably asking some question marks if you're that team's coach or a supporter as well. But Barca, they were just so difficult to handle this game. I think it was inevitable that they were going to win by at least a couple goals. And just those 4 attackers for me, it was so great. The combinations that they had, the runs in behind. I mean, Dani Olmo, I think he was great in this game. He did miss a couple chances. Maybe some people will say he could have done better there. But I think he was so good. His performance all around was great. And to see him get the goal right before he was subbed out, that was also amazing for him. I've been so happy with Dani Olmo and his first 2 games at Barcelona. And Rafinha, this role that he has under Hansi Flick, and you can tell that he is one of Hansi Flick's favorite players. It's just been great, honestly. And I just feel like the energy around the club right now is completely different. I mean, like Lamine Yamal and Rafinha are dancing after the first goal, and even and then Lamine Yamal, when Lewandowski scores, he does his celebration, and I feel like their connection is different from last year when Lewandowski was kind of yelling at him and basically getting frustrated when he didn't get the ball from Lamine. But now it just seems like they're connecting so well, and Lamine's assist to Rafinha for the hat trick. I mean, I just had to smile. I'm sure everyone around the world, every Barca fan, just smiled because to see Rafinha get his hat trick, but Lamine Yamal to take the ball from an opposing corner all the way from his own box to the other box and play that pass, just incredible. As I've said, I've never seen anything like that before. And just those 4 up top, it was so fun and enjoyable to watch. Of course, I only have positive things to say about this performance. I could not have asked for anything more. And I think every single player on the team performed very well. I just think they look very cohesive. They look like a great team that connects very well with each other, and they know their own roles. And just when you have special players like Dani Olmo, Lamine Yamal, Rafinha, these things can happen. You can score by multiple, or you can win by multiple goals, and you can play the way that they played today. Honestly, I didn't even know how to begin this video because it just feels like a completely different team right now. And as I said, it's just the beginning of the season. I'm sure Barcelona, they're going to go through difficult, maybe some rough patches this season, right? Where things aren't exactly clicking. They're going to have some players that, hopefully not, but it's possible that there are going to be some injury problems this season to important attackers. And then you have to look to the bench. And I think sometimes the squad depth you look at it now and it does look a bit concerning with all the players out injured. Yeah, that's one point that I'm a little bit worried about going into a 50, 60 game season, that your squad can be thin at times, right? But when you have these players and when you have Hansi Flick getting the best out of all of them, it's just so fun to watch. I mean, like I said, I didn't even know what I was watching. It almost didn't feel real because I haven't seen on Twitter. I'm sure there's a stat like Barcelona haven't scored 7 goals in this amount of time. It's going to be a very long time, I think. I can't, unless I'm forgetting one, I can't remember Barca being that dominant in a game. And especially at home, at the Montjuic, for all the fans to see that. I mean, what a special game for them to go to. And as I said, for Rafinha to get his hat trick, I know a lot of Barca fans, maybe to be honest, when I heard 100 mil from Saudi, I was definitely, my eyes were turning to that. But I'm so glad that he's succeeding and he's doing so well under Hansi Flick. And I think he's going to have a very important role for Barca this season. I definitely hope he can stay healthy. And I think as a right winger, he was very good. He was effective there. But I always did want to see him in the middle. And I just didn't think it was really possible because then you have to, sit out a true midfielder. And I didn't think Xavi was ever going to do that because he wanted to, predominantly play with 4 midfielders. But Hansi Flick, he says, I'll go with 2 and I'll put Rafinha in a more free role where he can make runs in behind, where he can play direct. And it's just worked out so well. You never would have thought it would have worked out like this. But as I said, 4 games in the season, I'm not saying Barca or, I don't know, like they can win everything. I think they can compete for everything right now. And the possibilities right now are endless because of the way that Hansi Flick has set this team up. But the squad depth, I think, can definitely be something that's a bit concerning. I hope Barca, if they can stay healthy, and of course they can rely on their academy. I thought Sergi Dominguez is his name. He had a pretty good performance as well, solid. Defensively, you didn't really have to do too much, and you would have had to do really bad to, make a dent in the scoreline, really. So I thought he was decent as well. And there's some players like that, I think, where Barca, if they have injury problems, if they can rotate, then I'm sure Hansi Flick, he's shown that he trusts La Masia, and he definitely is not afraid to use them in the first team. So I think that's exactly what's going to happen. We're going to see some more players from La Masia make their way to the first team. And I've just loved, honestly, Hansi Flick, hats off to him because I think maybe there were definitely some skeptics saying, is Hansi Flick going to be the right fit? Is that, physicality and that pressing for 90 minutes really going to work at Barcelona, who have, historically, especially recent history, have just been completely outworked in European competitions. In some games, they just don't look up to the task. But Hansi Flick, he's completely put a different dimension on this team. They look completely different than what we saw last year. It doesn't even feel like it's Barcelona currently, because I've not seen games like this in such a long time. So as I said, I'm just so happy. I'm sure all of you are as well. And I think, of course, the best coaches, they get the best out of their players, right? And Hansi Flick has definitely done that in the first 4 games. But also, I think the squad that he got, I think a lot of other coaches maybe could have complained or potentially added some excuses. We'll have to see if it gets, to some rough patches in the season. But Hansi Flick, he continues to say, I trust the squad that we have. And that for me is very important, because I think sometimes maybe with the energy between Xavi and the board, it seemed like he was always saying maybe our squad isn't good enough, which I think that's ultimately was one of the reasons he got fired. And Hansi Flick, I just think he trusts the group that he has. And I think he sees so much in the youngsters that excites him. And just seeing him on the touchline, celebrating every single goal with that emotion that he had, it's just been so great. And Hansi Flick, I'll admit, I don't think he was one of my first choices, just because I like Julian Nagelsmann, someone like that. But Hansi Flick, I mean, he's been so good. You cannot ask for anything more in these first 4 games. Not only a 7-0 scoreline, but the way that they're playing, it just seems like they're moving in the right direction. And we're playing with 4 attackers, which I really wanted to see, because I think sometimes 4 midfielders, especially in big games against difficult opponents, sometimes it did look a little bit more solid and balanced. But when you have 4 attackers, I mean, 7-0 games can happen. If Xavi was still in charge, Barcelona absolutely would not have won this game 7-0. So I'm just so happy with the way that they're playing. And also, as I said, I just feel like the energy at the club, it's completely revamped this year, because everyone's combining, connecting very well. I don't think players are playing too selfish. I think they're all just trying to get their teammates a goal. And Lamine Yamal, I think he was targeting Rafinha for that 3rd goal, and then Rafinha with a nutmeg finish. Beautiful, beautiful goal as well. And Ferran Torres, it was nice to see him get a goal, because I think he's definitely a player that needs that confidence boost. And it's just been great. Lewandowski as well had a goal. I mean, it looks revamped. Lewandowski, as I said, I was a heavy critic of him last year. I think in these first 4 games, he shows that he is still able to play at this level, which I did not think was possible from watching him last year. Very underwhelming, but he just looks revamped. He looks like a completely different player with the setup and having, 3 other attackers to play with him instead of just one, and Lamine Yamal being a 16-year-old. So just have Rafinha and Dani Olmo. And Dani Olmo, I know I said at the beginning that I was just a little bit skeptical of paying 60 million for a player that in a position that Barcelona, they already did have Fermin Lopez, Gundogan at the time, Pedri as well. But he's been so good. I mean, he's the perfect Barcelona player to play in the space, or in tight spaces, in the pockets, just to quick little touches, 1-2s with his teammates. He was so good. Besides the goal, he was incredible. He definitely could have had maybe 1 or 2 more. But, I mean, just to get in those positions, I think he's such an intelligent player as well. He's perfect for Barcelona, and I'm so excited to see how well he does this season. Definitely hope he can stay healthy. And then Rafinha, as I said, it was nice because him and Dani Olmo, they were just swapping. And that's what I think, that was part of the main reason why I think Barcelona, they looked unpredictable. I think there were times when it was that 4-3-3 that Xavi would play, or a 4-4-2, and it just seemed pretty stale. But when you have all these players moving, I mean, Lamine Yamal is predominantly on the right-hand side, but Lewandowski, he's staying really as a true number 9. And then Rafinha and Dani Olmo, they're swapping in and out of space. They're making runs in behind, runs off the ball. That's really what Barcelona were missing last season. So I'm so happy. Honestly, I think I'm probably repeating the same thing, but I'm just so happy. And also, if I'm maybe not being as clear as I would like, didn't get much sleep, so if you could bear with me there. But yeah, as I said, Barcelona, I'm just so happy with the way that they played. Just 7-0. I knew this game was probably going to be where Barcelona had a lot of the ball. They were pretty much dominating, and with the way that they had started the first 3 games under Hansi Flick, I thought they were going to do very well and get the result today. But in that fashion, 7-0, it's just incredible. And especially with all the players out injured, it's important to get these results early on in the season. But just the way that they're playing, even missing some important players, it's just incredible. Honestly, I could not have expected it, to be completely honest. But it's just amazing to watch. And I feel like this is truly a historic day for Barcelona, because 7-0 is amazing. We've definitely seen that in the past, but just to see it now, especially after the way that Barcelona were playing last season, It's incredible, truly. And now I believe is the international break, so it's very nice for Barcelona to get those 3 points, and hopefully there are no injuries during the international break. And of course, these are terrible because it's 2 weeks without games, and then they're also playing, they're traveling, and then playing with their national teams, and it's just a lot on the players, I think. So sometimes they're not able to come back at 100%, but I hope all the Barcelona players are healthy. Hope they play great games, and then they come back to Barcelona, and we still see this. And I think Hansi Flick, he's just built this team so well. I've truly loved seeing them play in the first 4 games. I'm so excited for the rest of the season. And thank you all very much for watching my video. And as always, VISCA BARCA. I will see you all later. Hope you have a great rest of your weekend. And thank you very much. Bye. Or peace. That's what I meant. I usually say peace. So see you all later. Peace.